Hi everyone, this is Kim Goyette, your meditation mother, coming to you live from beautiful Costa Rica. We have the waves in the background today. The sun is starting to come out early this morning, and I am so excited to share this space with you. I have been traveling with my husband for the past 2 weeks, and as you may know, this is a big travel season. And sometimes travel can be hard on the body. So I thought today's practice would be all about wringing out the junk. Whether you've been sitting on a plane or in a car for a long time, sometimes our low back can get stiff, our legs can feel a little bit stiff. Maybe we're partying a little too much and we need to wring out all the junk. So let's get started.
Yoga for everybody with Meditation Mutha.
Okay, we're gonna come to laying on our backs to start. So we'll take it all the way down. You can scoot your body forward, grab onto the backs of the thighs, and slowly lower down. Have your arms along your side, and take a moment to separate your feet out to the edges of your mat and just allow your knees to fall inward to release any tension in the low back. Relax your belly. Just let your sits bones separate from right to left. Take a few breaths here. And then we'll bring the knees back, pointing up towards the sky. Walk the feet underneath the knees a little bit so they're hips distance apart. We're gonna push into the backs of the arms, lift the hips about 1 inch off the mat, move them more towards your heels to traction out the spine, and then slowly lower down. So this class is all about creating space and movement in the low back and the legs. We'll hug the knees into the chest. Give yourself a nice hug, and then bring your hands one on each knee. Fingertips point towards the toes. And we'll just start to row the knees into the chest and then out wide and then back around. So in one direction, going opposite from each other. Good, in a nice loose circle, just relaxing the hips. We're warming up the hip joint. Getting some synovial fluid into that space. And just a few more times in this direction. And we'll take it in the opposite direction. Good. Starting to connect the movement with the breath. As we exhale, we draw the knees in. Inhale as we push away. So just a few more like that. Warming up the hip joint. And then coming back to center. Keep your knees hugged in. We're going to lengthen that left leg all the way down below. Keep your right knee hugged in. Give yourself a big hug, a little bit of healthy compression. Flex the left foot. Toes point up towards the sky. Then grab onto the backs of the thighs and flex the right foot. So the knee is bent on the right leg, and we're going to start to push the thigh into the hand. So push the thigh forward, but keep the knee bent. So the direction of the movement is going forward towards your other foot. Good. And then notice your right hip. See if you can move it down a little bit away from your right armpit. Give a little push. And start to lengthen that leg back up to center. So pushing in this way is really, really good for resetting the SI joint. If you have sciatica or anything like that, we'll start to lengthen the leg up towards the sky, opening up the back of the leg. Rotate the ankle a little bit in one direction. And then the other direction. And coming back to center. You can keep the knee bent as much as you need to. Flex your right foot and then take your right toes and point them in towards your left shoulder so that your heel is wider than your shoulder. Take your right arm out to the side. Keep your left hand on your inner thigh and then start to cross the body, but before you do that, make sure both hips stay grounded. You don't want to lift that right hip off the ground. Let's cross the foot just gently, subtly across the center. It might just be a few inches until you feel sensation right up the side of the leg in the IT band. So I feel this right away. When you're sitting in a car or on a plane, this can get really tight. So just allowing your leg to open up with time. You might feel your leg shaking a little bit, and that's okay. Just opening and stretching, turning on all the cells within your body. And just take a couple more breaths here. And bring that leg back to center. This time we're going to take the right hand to the outer part of the right leg, bring our left hand along our side, and then drop your right elbow to the ground. Let your right leg fall open into your hand. Just let it go. Really loose. You can even let your left toes fall open. Good. Opening up the inner thigh this time. Let that leg be very heavy. Relax your low belly. And just take a couple of breaths here. And then bring that leg back to center. Lengthen both legs all the way down below. Close your eyes for a moment and just pause. Notice any differences from right to left. Maybe one side feels a little bit longer or a little bit heavier. And then we'll hug the left knee into the chest. Give your left knee a nice squeeze. Some healthy compression in that hip joint. And we'll grab onto the back of the thigh. Clasp your hands, flex both feet up towards the sky, toes point up. And then push your thigh into your hands, moving towards your other foot. Good. Push the thigh into the hands. Keep your left knee bent. Arms straighten. Notice your left hip this time. See if you can move it down away from your left armpit. Create more space on the left side. And then start to lengthen that leg up towards the sky. Keep your knee bent as much as you need to. And we'll rotate the ankle around in one direction. And opposite direction. Good. Let's keep the right hand on the inner part of your left thigh. Bring your left arm out to the side. We're going to take the toes and turn them towards inward so that the heel's wider. Start to cross the body, ground down with your left hip. So it's a very subtle move, just maybe a few inches across the body until you feel sensation up the side of the leg, that SI joint. You might notice one side is tighter than the other. Just breathe into that space. Soften your jaw, your low belly. Come back to center. Let's bring the left hand to the outer thigh. Bring your right arm along your side and then bring the elbow all the way down. Let that leg fall open out to the side. Really support your leg with your hand and just relax into it. Let it go. Ground down with that right hip. Let the right hip be very heavy. And slowly bring that leg back up. Lengthen both legs all the way down below. Relax the heels out wide. Pause for a moment. Again, noticing any differences from right to left. And we'll plant the feet. Knees point up towards the sky. Bring your feet a little bit closer to your glutes. Arms come along your side. And we're going to press into the backs of the arms to start lifting the chest. Push into the feet, lift your hips up off the mat a few inches, and then raise your arms overhead if it feels good for your shoulders. Feel like someone is holding onto your fingertips and pulling away from your legs. So reach those fingertips away, and as we do that, move your hips more towards your heels, traction out the spine, and then slowly lower down. Ooh, that feels good. Relax the arms all the way down. And just notice any length in the spine. Let's try it again. Push into the backs of the arms, lift the chest up, push into the feet, lift your hips up, arms sweep overhead. Feel like someone's reaching, pulling on your fingers and hands away from your knees. In the opposite direction, move your hips more towards your heels. Lengthen, separate the space in between the ribs. Slowly lower down. And relax your arms all the way down. Ooh, that feels so good. All right, let's take it over to one side. We're gonna make our way all the way up to seated. And we're gonna come to hands and knees. So planting the hands here, getting into pigeon pose. If pigeon isn't for you, you can stay on your back and just do a figure 4, crossing one ankle over the other knee and drawing into the chest. Let's take that right knee all the way up towards the right hand, sweep the foot through, lift your back knee, and then wiggle that foot all the way back. Lengthen, drop your back knee down and point your toe. Walk your hands in for just a moment. Open up the hip flexor. Roll the shoulders back. Take a deep breath here. We're gonna start to fold forward over the front leg. So prop yourself any way that you need to. We'll start to walk our hands out. Maybe there's a pillow or a blanket under your head. Sometimes it's nice to come to elbows or rest your forehead in your hands, or stack your fists one on top of the other. There's so many different ways to prop yourself. We're gonna be here for several breaths, opening up the glute. So take a deep breath into your right glute, expand the muscle. And on an exhale, maybe soften the belly and the chest more towards the earth. Inhale, expand. Exhale, start to surrender down, maybe making subtle adjustments. Inhale, expand. Exhale, soften. Just a few more breaths like that. If you want a little bit more sensation, you can take your chest and arms to the left and forward a little bit, opening up that hip. And then notice your jaw. See if you can separate the teeth and relax that space. And just a few more breaths here. Inhale. And exhale. Slowly walk the hands back up. And we'll curl the back toes and sweep that front foot back to hands and knees. Let's lengthen that right leg all the way back. Open up the knee, curl the toes, and just push into the hands for a moment. Open up the back of the leg. Good. And then trying the other side. So left knee to left hand. If you're laying on your back, just cross the opposite ankle over. So left knee to left hand, sweep that foot through, and then curl your back toes, lift your back knee, wiggle it all the way back, and then drop the knee down, point the toes. Walk your hands back for a moment. Roll the shoulders back, open up the chest. A nice hip flexor opening. And then fold forward over your front leg. So you might have to prop yourself a little bit different this time. One side might be different than the other. Feel free to take it to wherever you need to be today. Slowly lowering down any form. And we'll start to breathe space into the left hip this time. Take a nice inhale here. Exhale, relax the chest, soften the belly. Inhale, create space. Exhale, subtly move into that space. Inhaling here. And exhaling. If you want a little bit more sensation, move your chest and arms towards the right and forward. Good, open up that hip a few more times. This can get super tight when we're sitting for a long period of time. One more deep breath here. And exhale. Let's walk the hands back in underneath us. Curl the back toes and then come to hands and knees. Lengthen that left leg all the way back. Open up the back of the knee. Great. And then we'll sweep our legs through any way you can, just kind of sweeping them out in front of ourselves. And we're gonna fold forward, opening up the backs of the legs and the low back. So what we wanna do is feel like our thighs are pushing wide. You can even bring your hands to your outer thighs and feel like they're pushing wide. Feel the sits bones separate a little bit. That's the sensation that we want. So sits bones separating, knees are soft, and start to fold forward. Keep that press against the hands. Open up the back of the legs. Ground your hands down either on the floor or on your legs, your feet, wherever feels good for you. Tuck the chin, open up the back body and the hamstring. And take a deep breath into your back. Exhale, soften. Inhale to rise all the way up. And we're gonna make our way back down onto the floor. So scoot yourself forward, grab onto the backs of the thighs. Slowly lower all the way down. We're gonna roll over into the fetal position on one side. So it doesn't matter which side you do. Just hug the knees into the chest, let your head rest all the way down on the ground, and then have your arms out in front of you. So the hips are stacked, one on top of the other, knees are even in front, arms are long, and we're gonna keep the legs very heavy. The legs don't move at all. We're just gonna open up, roll the chest up towards the sky. Maybe the arm opens up to the right. Don't worry about that shoulder getting down to the ground. And if it's too much for your arm, you can even bring your hand to your hip and then just roll the shoulder open. So we're in a twist that helps to wring out any tension in the low back. In addition, we're helping to wring out any of the junk that you've been collecting in your body from all the celebration and partying while on vacation. So just relaxing. You might notice your lower shoulder blade, move it more to the side and see if you can get into the twist a little bit more. And just take a few breaths here. And when you're ready, that top arm comes back over, stacking the hands into the fetal position. We're gonna roll over onto our back and do the opposite direction. So let's go on the other side into that fetal position. And arms out in front. And then slowly rolling open. So again, you can have the arm out to the side, or maybe your hand is on your hip, whatever feels better for your shoulder. Just take a few more breaths here. Let your low belly be soft. Knees are stacked one on top of the other. And maybe your lower rib and shoulder blades slide to the side a little bit to open into that twist. Take a deep breath here. And then slowly unwind, bring the hand over top, come to land flat on your back. Knees point up towards the sky. And then bring your feet underneath your knees. We're gonna bring our hands to our upper thighs. Push forward and up, and you might feel a nice release in the low back. And then let go. We're gonna do that a few more times in a rocking motion. So pushing forward and up. And then let go. Let's try it again. Forward and up. Let go. This time we're gonna do forward, up, and hold. So hold it here. Maybe feel like your thighs are pushing wide. Create a little bit of space in the low back. And then release. Relax the arms along your side. Lengthen the legs. We're gonna move into my favorite posture, Shavasana, the resting pose. So gently close the eyes and just start to tune into the sound of the waves rolling over you. Just softening into the space for the next few breaths. And start to invite your breath in a little more fully. Begin to make small movements with the fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. And when you're ready, hugging the knee into the chest, roll over to one side and push all the way up to seated. All right. We're gonna finish by directing our breath into our low back for expansion. So if you'd like, you can take your palms, place them on your low back, almost where your SI joint is, that bony protrusion in the low back, one on each side. Roll the shoulders back, open up the chest, draw your belly in, gently close the eyes, and we're gonna direct our breath into that space. So on an inhale, fill up the hands with that breath. And on an exhale, soften. Good. Inhaling, expand from right to left. And exhaling. Just a few more breaths on your own, directing your attention and awareness into that space. Gently relax your concentration. Let's bring your hands to heart center. Take a moment to bow the mind to the heart and thank yourself for tuning into what you need today, what your body and mind needs today. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me in beautiful Costa Rica. I'm Kim Goyette, your meditation mother. If you like this video and you want to be the first to receive weekly videos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel at Yoga with Meditation Mutha. And if you want to learn how my family traveled around the world for a whole year and came back with zero debt, please check out my newly published book. It's called Just Plain Crazy, Plane, The Ultimate Guide to Affordable Adventurous World Travel on Amazon today. Thanks so much. See you next time.